Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Lisa Vomero-Inouye. I just love that name. Like Vomero, like Camaro, and Inouye, like Inouye. So anyway, Lisa, it's great to have you. If you could give us a little history of how you got into residential real estate, that would be great.
Well, thank you, Bruce. It's an honor and a pleasure to speak with you this morning. So I appreciate that very much. I originally started out college educated in civil and geotechnical engineering. I did an internship at NASA, went to graduate school at ASU. I got offered a job in engineering and moved to San Diego. That's where I primarily work, in and around San Diego County. And then about halfway through my career, I just decided I felt like I wasn't really making a difference in people's lives. So I did a 180 and got my real estate license when my husband was upgrading to captain, commercial airline pilot. And I wish I would have done it sooner because it's just a lot more rewarding than engineering was.
Well, engineering is a lot of number crunching and looking at soil and doing all sorts of testing. So, anyway, but you've taken that engineering side off to the residential side in some way, the residential sales side. So, tell us about engineering residential data solutions.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting moniker that I specifically made for my client base. 90% of my database is engineers. They are very solutions oriented. They need a lot of data to make correct decisions. I want to make sure that they're comfortable and confident along the way. And to best serve them, I really value education instead of just like sales. I am relationship oriented, not transactional oriented. So that's just a better system for me and also for my clients. I give them a lot of data. We look at a lot of different options. I always have a strategy laid out for them and a plan to achieve their real estate goals, so that at every step along the way, we are constantly doing numerous iterations until we find the best property, the budget, the condition of the property, so they can buy it and sell it and be happy.
So that leads me, speaking of data, what's happening in the San Diego residential real estate market these days?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that. I just gave a presentation to the American Public Works Society luncheon last week. So the stats, right now the median price in San Diego is $1,050,000. That'll buy you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house. In the condo market, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo will run you about $675,000. What's really interesting about that is for a long time, the HOA fees were very stable at $350,000. And in the last 18 months, we've had a giant spike in HOA fees. Now they're averaging $650,000, and
Whoa.
it's mainly due to wildfire and insurance costs as well as water rising. Our average days on market right now are 40. It's up 10 days over the same period last year. And our inventory in November was a very interesting month. We had 55,000 units for sale, but only 2,500 of them actually closed escrow, the lowest numbers we've seen in all the 20 some years I've been a real estate agent.
Wow. So what do you attribute that low closing rate?
Well, I think in California, New York, and Florida, the locked-in effect is real, where you have ultra-low mortgage rates. Most homeowners, 86% of homeowners have interest rates of 4% or less. No one wants to pay capital gains because in the last 5 years, if you've owned your house, your equity has probably doubled. So you're well over the exemption. And then property tax, if you move to a smaller house, you're going to pay more than double. And then there's really nothing less expensive to buy. So what we're seeing in the demographic is people are staying in their houses more than 20 years, where before the average was every 7 years, people would move. As a result, for instance, where I live in Carmel Valley, There's talk about closing one of the elementary schools because they just don't have enough kids going to school anymore in those neighborhoods uh, to fund the school. So very interesting time in real estate.
But is 55,000 units for sale high or low for that area?
Well, this would be all of San Diego County for a single family detached unit. That's lower than we would normally see.
Oh,
But
okay.
what's really shocking is the amount of property that's actually selling is very, very low.
Yeah. So is that because people are asking too high a price or interest rates are too high? Demand is not there. It's an interesting uh, statistic.
Well, you're right, Bruce. It's very interesting, and I think it's a combination of things. Last year, the average age of a buyer was 59 years old. So what that tells us is it's mainly people right sizing.
Mm,
They're probably downsizing. Their kids are gone. They're moving to something smaller. Smaller. The other thing that's happening is the younger generation. The average age of a first time buyer is now 40 years old. It jumped 2 years from last year to this year, the highest it's ever been on record. And for the younger people, they went through the 2008 crash. For them, owning a home is not the American dream. They would rather be unattached. They want to be mobile. They don't want to be tied down to a property. So their goals and what's important to them are different than previous generations.
So is
So
that
it's a combination of many factors.
yeah, but I think the one you're really seeing is that there basically is less demand for buying a house, and particularly a house that costs, a million or more. It's just
Right.
not that easy to put together for the younger generation. So I think that would mean to me that the rental rates may be going up in the area for apartments and so forth.
Well, we actually see the rental rates are pretty flat.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason is for that is that a lot of people that would like to sell but aren't living in the house, um, they don't want to sell because they don't want to pay capital gains. And unless you do a 1031 exchange, you're going
Right.
to have to pay a significant amount. Plus, you pay the 9.9% to the state right off the bat for taxes when you sell, that they're holding on to them.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, there's a lot of things that are affecting the market right now that we have not seen previously.
So I think you're saying that there are a lot of houses for rent right now, more than normal.
No, not more than normal. I'd say the inventory there is stable.
Yeah.
So you're not really seeing a big increase or a big decrease.
Yeah.
Uh, that market is pretty much flat. Um, so that's not really contributing to, I think, to the housing cost. But the number one thing really in Southern California is affordability. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at what, normally they would go when you qualify for a mortgage, it would be 30%. Now, it's up to it's 40% of income for San Diego. If you look at the disparity between what it costs to buy a house and then the median income, there is a huge gap there. And the other thing that we're finding with affordability is that there are just not enough housing units. And for the people that want to move, they don't want to give up the equity that they have, even though it's on paper, until they sell it. So,
Right.
like I said, it's a very interesting time in the markets, and we'll see what next year will bring. Because when people are not confident, that's the other thing, they don't move. When they're worried about their job or employment or the stock market or interest rates, they're going to stay put. That's just human nature. They don't move unless they're very comfortable with the economy, their life, their future. And we don't see that right now.
So you're not seeing people moving in or moving out of the whole San Diego area very much, it sounds like.
Well, I did that research for my presentation last week, and really we've had a net inflow 11%, which for California, it's about stable. We don't see a mass exodus. And when we do see people moving, it's because mainly they've retired. Their kids can't afford to live here, so they're moving away. They're having grandkids. They don't want to be that far away from their family. And then they will cash out. They'll pay the capital gains because they want a different lifestyle.
Yeah, so they're not
Yeah.
going to trade into something else.
Yeah,
And
that's a lot more affordable.
well, and some people need the cash to live in a retirement community or whatever. So,
Right. Or if they're having medical issues, yeah.
yeah. So it's
Or
all
they need, the other thing we see is, a lot of times people can't age in place
mm,
because they live in a two-story home.
right.
And it's just harder to retrofit the house, with the stair lift or an elevator. And sometimes people just decide it's time to move. The house is a little too big for me. Yeah.
Yeah, they want a one story, a flat layout, and off they
Right.
go from there.
Smaller. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting times. So, what's your crystal ball saying?
Well, that's very interesting. I think it's going to depend really on the politics. I think your top four issues are going to be what are they going to do with rates? Now, right now, they're predicting they're not going to reduce them next year.
Mm,
The other thing that they're kicking around is getting rid of capital gains on primary residences. That would be I think that would really shift inventory. They're also talking about 50-year mortgages from
right.
30.
Yeah.
It would make it a lot more affordable, but the cost in the long run would be longer. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is portable mortgages, being able to take your low interest rate to your new house and not losing the low percentage, like 86% of homeowners are below 4%. So
That's a,
I don't know that the banks would go for that, but I mean, those are the issues that they're kicking around to make housing more affordable. The other thing is, though, I don't know if we can really overcome the younger people not wanting to be homeowners.
right.
I mean, if they don't want to buy houses, then it doesn't matter the affordability. But I think it's just too risky for them right now with all those factors to buy a house. I think they feel like they might be trapped with the house and not be mobile like they prefer to be.
Yeah, well, so I had not heard about the portability issue. That's an interesting one to me. I assume that would not be applicable to all those people that are below 4%. This would be for new loans that potentially might be portable.
Well, like I said, they're kicking around legislation, but whether or not anything would come into fruition, I agree with you. It'd probably have to be something in the future. But then there's no impetus for someone that's sitting on a rate lower than 4% to take a 6% rate that could be moved. You know what I mean?
Right,
It
right.
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I know several people that are in the sub 4% range, and there's just no way they could move, and get a similar house and pay the same rate. So anyway, it's kind of a
Well, I
catch
would love a
22.
referral. Yes, when they're ready to move because they're locked in, right?
Yeah,
So
right,
you have a
right.
lot of friends that are locked in. Yeah.
Yeah, they just can't really afford to move. They've got
Yes.
great rates, and everybody keeps talking about rates going back down to that level, but I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I mean, that was a unusual situation with the pandemic and so forth.
No, I agree, and I did some more research on market outlook for mortgage rates in the next 5 years, and it looks like it's going to stay between 6 and 7, which is just a normal, regular, average market. But we had such low rates for so long, people can't let go of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, yeah. People freak out. They say, "Oh, 6%, 7%, that's way too high." But that, quite frankly, that's very average for the last 50 years. So
Yes,
people don't remember the Carter years when they were up to 16, 17, 18%. So, any rate,
that's right.
of course.
Right. When I bought my first house, it was 13.5%, and I thought it was a smoking deal.
Wow. Yeah, but how much did you pay for that first house?
Yeah, my first condo, 2 bedroom, 2 bath was 50,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you could afford to pay 13.5% at that with that amount of money. But anyway, it's a very interesting dynamic out there right now, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 3 to 6 months. So, just for fun, we didn't talk about the fact that you're sitting on the Big Island right now. Yeah,
Yes,
and I can see your beautiful view behind you. So
thank you.
it's great to have you in from Hawaii, so to speak. And I'm just curious what your favorite food or sandwich is.
Oh, geez, my favorite food when I'm here could be lau lau. It could be the spam musubi.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
or the poke bowl. I don't know. There's so many. I try to avoid the moco local, though. That's just too much food for me.
And just for fun, who would you like to sit with that meal and eat the meal with, either alive or not so alive?
Oh, I think Sir Richard Branson.
Oh, yes. All right. Uh,
Just because his business sense, his fearless risk taking, his it just not being afraid to fail has made him very successful.
yeah, I assume your husband never flew for him.
No, he did not.
Yeah, but yeah, Richard is a great guy, no doubt about it. Very, very intriguing. Well, this was very fun. I think we may have to reconvene here in 6 months and see how our rates and our predictions in San Diego market is doing at that time. It may be the same or it may have changed. It's hard to know.
It's hard to know right now. Yes. It's an
This was
interesting time though, for sure. And I do
very
appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. It's quite an honor. And so aloha.
aloha. And where can people get a hold of you, Lisa?
Best way to reach me is by phone, no matter where I am. If I'm available, I answer 858-945-2692. Call me, I will help you.
She's going to engineer a wonderful sale for you or purchase.
Yes, I will. All right. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.